Next up, our third speaker of the evening is Dr. Harman Sidhu. Dr. Sidhu's research focuses on knowing the occurrence and fate of, as well as the risks from, organic contaminants within our environment. Coming from the foothills of the Himalayas fueled his appreciation for Mother Nature, and he was motivated to pursue an environmental science-related career. Today, he's going to talk to you today about organic chemicals and things that we use in our everyday lives, how they can harm us, potentially our environment as well, and how we, as informed consumers, can minimize their release into the environment. Join me now in welcoming Dr. Harman Sidhu.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Katie, for the introduction. Let's dig right in. Development has brought us many comforts from refrigerators and air conditioning to water and fireproof clothes, electronics, and sofa sets. Though it comes at a cost, which, among other things, includes increased use of organic chemicals. Unfortunately, not all of these chemicals are good. Many pose known or unknown risks to human and environmental health. Have you noticed that with increased use of chemicals, incidences of diseases have been going up? Is this just a coincidence? Likely not. For instance, many fireproof materials are coated with a class of flame retardants called diphenyl ethers, which have been linked to reproductive issues, cancers, etc. Did you know that there are plethora of chemicals in products that we use in our everyday lives? Food and personal care products, such as toothpaste and shampoo, contain several organic chemicals, some of which are known or thought to be problematic. For instance, many shampoos contain paraben preservatives that have been linked with hormonal imbalance, also known as endocrine disruption in humans and other animals. And do you think we are done with these chemicals once we use these products? Well, think again. From our bodies and households, these chemicals end up in wastewater treatment plants, which are not very efficient in removing them. Consequently, these compounds end up in environmental compartments such as atmosphere, river and groundwater, and agriculture fields, from where they can cause host of problems, including food contamination and toxicity to non-target organisms. I'm a broadly trained environmental chemist who evaluates the presence, fate, and risk assessment of these so-called contaminants of emerging concern once they are released into the environment. The goal is to inform policies such as setting up pollutant limits to better safeguard us and our surroundings. It is a no-brainer that limiting the release of such chemicals into the environment in the first place is far better than doing these risk assessment studies, right? Chemicals are often tested to predict their environmental fate and risks before commercial release. However, despite best efforts, chemical behavior in the complex environment over a long period of time can be hard to foresee. So post-release studies need to be conducted, especially when an environment shows signs of adverse effects. Now, can we as consumers safeguard ourselves and help prevent environmental release of these harmful chemicals that are present in food and personal care products? Short answer is yes. But before delving into how, I want to ask you a couple of questions. Do you consider yourself a health-conscious shopper? Do you favor personal care products and foods that portray themselves as healthy and eco-friendly? And if you answered yes, how do you identify healthy and environment-friendly products? Here are some considerations that can help one pick out such items. When choosing a product, the first thing to pay attention to is not the enticing claims on the labels, but the list of ingredients. Here, consider three things. The number of ingredients. Generally, the longer the list, the more processed, chemical heavy, and less healthy the item likely is. Then, the order of ingredients. The earlier the name appears in the list, the higher the concentration of the ingredient, and then ingredients thought or known to be problematic, such as parfum, which is fragrance, and parabens in this list. These problematic ingredients include certain preservatives, thickening agents, colors, and natural flavors. Chemicals such as parabens, monosodium glutamate, and phthalates are some famous examples of ingredients that may be linked to endocrine disruption, developmental problems, or cancer. The use of some of these ingredients is being restricted, but others are still being widely used. Most harmful compounds that are common ingredients in various products can be found on websites such as Environmental Working Group. Let's do an informative activity. Take out your cell phones and scan this QR code. It will take you to the Environmental Working Group website. Are you doing this? Okay. Here on the top, you have a search option where you can get important information about any common chemical present in consumer products in general, less scientific words. Let's look up parabens. Just type parabens into the search option. You got some informative articles on parabens, right? You can read such articles and be better informed. Did I scare you? Well, don't be. The concentrations of these compounds in most products are generally quite low. So you don't necessarily have to worry if you have been consuming these products so far. Still, you should stop now, as not only does exposure add up over time, but also these chemicals can end up in the environment, adversely affecting it and other organisms. Now let's look at examples of good and not so good pasta sauces. A good sauce will generally have less ingredients, no problematic ones, and less healthy products would be listed towards the end. Recall the ingredients are ordered based on their concentrations in the list. So from these pictures, it is evident that sauce on the right is much better than one on the left because it has less ingredients, all healthy ones, whereas one on the left also has sugar in it. While shopping, you are likely to see products labeled chemical-free, organic, antibiotic-free, etc. At a glance, they seem superior, but are they really? The labels, such as 100% organic and raised without antibiotics, are credible because those terms are closely regulated. On the other hand, commodities labeled natural are usually minimally processed but may still contain harmful chemicals, antibiotics, and some other dubious elements. Items labeled made with organic ingredients and organic are permitted to contain up to 30% and 5% synthetic components, respectively. Similarly, chemical-free doesn't really mean anything. Almost everything we can see, touch, and feel is a chemical. Furthermore, claims such as heart healthy and hypoallergenic are often backed by negligible and/or biased research. Other products use marketing to imply they are healthy when they are clearly not. Did you know sugar-free cola contains artificial sweeteners that can be worse than sugar? These sweeteners can harm crucial gut microbes, and some are even suspected carcinogens. If you want alternatives to sugar, look for relatively healthy sweeteners like stevia. Fat-free products are not necessarily good for you either. When fat is removed from foods, the concentrations of sugars go up. So in summary, labels 100% organic and antibiotic-free are reliable. Organic and made from organic ingredients may contain synthetic materials. Chemical-free and natural doesn't really mean anything. Heart-healthy and hypoallergenic are often dubious, and sugar and fat-free are often unhealthy. The bottom line is, being an informed consumer can help safeguard us and our surroundings against harmful chemicals. Always study the ingredients no matter what the label says. Judge the concentration of various ingredients and do your research to assess the problematic ones. Keep these tips in mind, and I hope they help you stay an informed consumer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sidhu. I will certainly take another look at the products I purchase on my next shopping trip. I have a question from the audience. Is there a potential link to antiperspirants and breast cancer from the effects of the aluminum and other chemicals?
Well, this is a very burning question these days, but people may not like the answer. We don't know. There is very little evidence to suggest that there is a link between antiperspirants, aluminum, and breast cancer. Though there are some studies that suggest there might be some evidence to support this theory, but those studies are often flawed. For example, one such study used unrealistically high aluminum concentrations. And there are some studies that show there is no link. Those studies have their flaws as well. So at the moment, we really don't know if there is a relationship between these or not, but we really need to do research, more research to find out, to confirm whether this is a problem or not.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sidhu. Fascinating research that you do. Other than parabens, what is the most prevalent harmful chemical that is used in our everyday lives?
Fragrance is, I would say, the most important one because it's in everything. Parfum, fragrance, you will find it in your soaps, your every kind of toiletries, and sometimes even in your food. So I would say you should be very clear to look for paraffin. It will be there in your foods, but it should be at the very end with concentration, keeping in mind in the concentration, right?
Okay, so parabens and perfumes, stay away. And make sure they're at the end. Yes.